Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, we are live for the Beacon TVL show today. Got me here. This is Chris, co-founder, head coach, Beacon DeFi. Good to see you all. Let me just make sure I push everything out to our Twitter as well. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Hopefully everybody is having a great week. A lot to talk about today. Got some guests coming next week that I think will be awesome to have. So you got me today. Let's go jump into the news as we do every week. But first, before we open, wanted to kind of get some engagement going on. I need to get some new glasses. So if you have a spot that you know of, I will be very transparent, much like my frames here. Been in the clear frame game for a minute, but I think I need to get to like solid colors just because my green screen kind of melts into these colors. So videos can be weird. So I do need to get a different color, probably brown, maybe a tortoise shell. If you can think of anything that would be a good color, put them in the comments. Would love to learn more about what you think would work well. So we'll go ahead and start with the markets today. We have some we got some movement. Let me try that. I'll go with this one. Sell off, right? Although we're a bit green on the hour, but overall, there's been a lot of stock sell off. Numbers are coming a little bit lower. I guess you could say the presidential debate that happened yesterday had a little bit of an effect on how things are going. Maybe sentiment is worsening based on what we're seeing. According to Polymarket, the race has tightened up quite a bit. So we'll probably take a minute to talk about prediction markets a little bit later on. 1 second. But overall, market is being the market so far. Continuing on this move, staying fairly frothy with quite a bit of movement. Overall, we're seeing a little bit of green on the up. So hopefully there's going to be a little bit more bullishness with this hour moving on to the 24 and over the week. Crypto bubbles wise. Come on out. Come on out, bubbles. Come on out there, bubbles. On the day. Week is actually looking a little bit better now, eh? Aave Ton. Wow, Phantom is up 19 on the week. Interesting. FET, all things considering, we'll talk about FET in a little bit as well. That's still up 4%, which is good to see. So looking at the bubbles today and seeing, what's going on. Overall, the market seems to be pretty solid, I would say. A lot of movement with everything we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, but I'm very curious to see where we move from here. What I did want to start off with is a new tool. As you know, and again, join our community absolutely free, school.com/beacon. If you want to learn how to become a DeFi pro, just learn more about what decentralized finance is, check out our fantastic group over at school.com/beacon. I will even come over here and I will actually go to that website, although I'm already signed in. School.com/beacon. Check it out. We're on our way to 1,000 members. I did want to bring your attention to this brand new start here, new and improved post here where you have a video from myself and Andrew. We look like mimes now that I think about it. But we have some new pathways here. If you're brand new to DeFi, intermediate DeFi investor, or a pro or a high net worth investor, we have exact pathways on what you can do here at Total Value Locked to get all the information you need. Of course, absolutely free. Come and join us. Tell all your friends to come and join us. We definitely are building this fantastic community full of action takers and people really making strides. Got a brand new product as well, part of our Beacon Spotlight subscription. Check that out if you want to learn more. But we're going to go back to tools, something we talk about all the time with tools. Let's talk about Llama Feed. This is brand new from the group with NGMI and DefiLlama. One of the best front pages in all of DeFi. We talk about this a lot on our calls. We look at stats. I showed people on calls how we use the yields to find yields for our Beacon Spotlight. And we swap using DefiLlama swap. It's the best swap in the business, in my opinion. Where is the swap? Right there. They moved it up, which is good. They need to. And they have a lot of awesome little things. If you've never actually checked out DefiLlama, I definitely recommend that you do, because you get a lot of information here that's maintained by various groups. But the ones we look at the most under DeFi is probably Chain, so you can kind of see where TVL. This is kind of how we measure what we call the hot balls of money, where everything is moving. So what's cool about this is they now have this new Llama feed, which is feed.defillama.com. If you are a fan of Reddit, and some of you are, some of you may not be. What they've done here is they've created what we call a front page of Web3. And essentially they have little modules that you can kind of plug in. Looks like I think they're going to possibly upgrade this, but you get news, you get tweets, apparently you get poly markets, and you get CEX transfers. Interesting. For those who really are curious to know where all the big money is moving back and forth from CEXs. Kind of gives you an idea, sometimes indicators with regards to future market movements based on if people are buying or selling, along with the most recent prices. My guess is that you can move, you can move this up and down and reconfigure some of this. So if you care more about tweets and some of these other things, this is what feed.defillama.com can do for you. I'll go ahead and paste it here in the chat for you guys. It's a great tool to use moving forward. This is feed.defillama.com. Brand new as of this week from the group at DefiLlama. Go ahead and give it a check out. Let us know how it helps with you in your research. Maybe we should build something like this. That'd be kind of interesting. I'll put that on the list. Definitely would be something very interesting to build, because I know a lot of people ask, how do you get all your information? We scour all corners of this space to get all the information that we put out here on this call every week, as well as within our calls. So again, if you want to learn more, feel free to join our free group, school.com/beacon. You get to learn more about other offerings as well that we have. Someone we've interviewed before in our mastermind, Sunny Agarwal, the founder, co-founder technically, of Osmosis, has now launched a brand new product. This is called Polaris. Let me see if I can make this. There we go. This is good for the article view, by the way. So Cosmos IBC. Osmosis is the venerable layer 1 app chain. That's what they call the majority of the different applications there. They're all in Cosmos IBC. The majority of them are all on their own blockchains with their own set of validators. They are a layer 1. It's called an app chain. It's pretty much the largest decentralized exchange in all of the Cosmos IBC, and they have been for quite some time. They have, of course, swapping. They also have partnerships for things like margin trading, concentrated liquidity pools, regular LP pools, asset onboarding. One of the easiest places to onboard assets into and out of Cosmos overall is what Osmosis is. I definitely would recommend you check them out if you have not previously. One second. So with Polaris, they're saying that they've created a new vertical here, a new category to solve what we call the Great Chain Divide, right? And the idea with the Great Chain Divide is one that's kind of been an existing narrative, right? So we have people who are big fans of Cosmos, people who are big fans of Ethereum, people who are big fans of Solana, people that are big fans of other L1s like, for example, Avalanche, Phantom, other L1s that are out there. It's taken a little bit of time with different technologies, like with Layer 0, Axelar, and some of these others, to make interoperable protocols an easier thing. it's interesting because for such a long time we had all of this tribalism, if you want to call it that, and just trying to see which chain is better. And now we have the ability to really just have this blurriness. We talk about this on a lot of our calls, is that there's more of this blurriness coming in with what is essentially going to be a huge interoperability liquidity layer where you can just be anywhere and do anything that you want in decentralized finance. A lot of what you'll be looking for behind the scenes will be abstracted away from you. So all you're really just doing is just now just doing transactions in a decentralized manner. So they have this token portal that they are launching, which is interesting because Osmosis has undergone a little bit of a metamorphosis. They are now looking to move to become a Bitcoin layer 2 by allowing native Bitcoin to be, I guess, staked in their validation set to allow that to help secure the network. They're coming out with Alloyed Bitcoin soon, which will help make onboarding Bitcoin into just DeFi in general a lot easier. And now they're going to have this token portal, which will just pretty much be an interchain DEX. Looking at Sunny's tweet here, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. And the idea is that they wanted to create an interchain DEX. So if you and you can bring your own wallet. That's the key here. You don't have to use a specific wallet. You can bring your Phantom wallet. You can bring your Rabby wallet, your whatever wallet that you have that is compatible with this system. MetaMask, also with snaps, can go multiple directions here. To be able to not only just swap between, like this example here, XRP and ETH, or even because Osmosis is also a liquidity provider, having pools for things like ADA, Link, XRP, even LTC, Litecoin, I think would be really cool, because that's probably the one thing that's missing from a lot of things that are going on, right? Yeah, like we talked about last week about ADA, about Cardano having their Chang hard fork, so now they have decentralized governance. It's great. Finally great to see them moving in that direction. But to now have liquidity choices available thanks to something like Polaris, I think is going to be really cool. So I'm excited to see where we go from here with this idea of Polaris. And they announced this today. So just wanted to, saw it on my timeline, wanted to get this here front and center is the first thing we talk about today, besides Llama feed. But yeah, so looking forward to seeing what happens with Polaris. The app itself is still, it's still in the early stages. If you come here, you'll have to get early access, I guess, by joining their Telegram or just following them on Twitter. Looks like it's a tally form. Oh, yes, which means you'll have to fill out a form. But, I'll see if I can reach out to Sunny and his team so we can get somebody to come on and talk to us about this. But, yeah, to be able to get all of this, especially in this world now where we have rollups, we have all kinds of interoperability standards, we have new things that are more decentralized or just modular, right? So we have things like Celestia, we have Symbiotic, Eigenlayer, Zirkit, some of these other modular things, Avail, that are out there to try and create liquidity layers and messaging layers just to be able to move things around, like with Stargate and things like that. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this all kind of works together. I think this does fit a gap that's out there, right? Because you still have to bridge money back and forth, right? So the ability to do this without really worrying about that, I think, is really cool. And yeah, so I'm really excited to see what happens with Polaris. The other thing I wanted to also talk about, and I should do this here because I totally need to, let's see, duplicate. We'll talk about this here because I just talked about it on Monday. As you know, we recommend Rabby. They have this new gas account. Why did I say gas connect? This gas account thing. And I did do this on our town hall call, which is here with our Beacon Accelerator group, as well as our mastermind. It's a new way to have a wallet within Rabby that you can use that is independent from what the blockchain you're on. So if you're on a blockchain, Rabby only does EVM chain. So let's say you are on Base, you forgot to bridge some ETH over from Arbitrum to Base, or For example, we went to the Say blockchain because we want to check out some things over there. I didn't quite have some Say over there. I could, of course, bridge some over with something like gas.zip or layer 0. But I found out that we could just use this gas account fee inside of Rabby. It's actually really, really cool. As you can see there, there's just a little $ thing here. You just have to deposit $20 minimum. So as long as you have $20, I think it's 20, 50, and 100. Yep, $20, $100, and 500. 20 is really the ton. That's really all you'll really need. And you'll have this available to pay in stable coins, regardless of where you go. Is it a one-to-one conversion? No. Obviously, there's some fees involved here, right? Because you're gonna have to pay for the bridging fees behind the scenes. I think it's using the stuff with the the D-Bank layer 2 to facilitate all this through smart contracts. Rabby, of course, is going to charge a fee on there, but it's not as bad as you think. We did about 3 or 4 different transactions showing the difference, and in most cases, very cheap. Like it's a penny, 2 pennies, 5 pennies. It's not that bad when you think about it in the overall scheme of things, to be able to have this really cool chain independent wallet where you just pay stable coins with gas. And this is helpful because it's good that you can go to blockchains and pay for gas in an asset that does not get directional exposure, right? That's probably the one really cool thing about this. The one thing I would definitely recommend if you don't use Rabby, it's what we recommend to everyone in our community, use Rabby today. That way you can start using the gas account, and having native token gas is a bit of the past. I will say we were on the Say blockchain, which is ridiculously fast. Really enjoying what I'm seeing there. The transactions go by much faster if you use the native token, which is Say. But if you use the gas account token, not that much slower. And it's roughly a little bit more expensive, but that's okay because it's the convenience is what you're paying for, right? When we go to like one of our great partner at Beefy, you go to a Beefy pool. Yes, you're paying a performance fee, but you're paying for the convenience of not having to worry about how to do all this. This is honestly saving you a lot of time because you don't have to, I had a example on another call where I was sending money to Mantle. It took an hour to do so because there happened to be with Axelar a finality clock that had to expire before they would bridge the money over. This solves that. Same thing with if you're using Stargate and you want to take the economy bus as opposed to the fast taxi, you don't want to pay all that money for gas. This solves that. SushiSwap with their cross-chain swaps, or anybody else has a cross-chain swap, this solves that issue. So yeah, hats off to Rabby for doing this. They are built on top of MetaMask code, so I am assuming that MetaMask will have something like this in a snap or something like this fairly soon. But couldn't talk about Polaris and that without bringing up what we saw from Rabby. Again, this was launched, the announcement for this was today. So excited to see what happens here. And we'll move forward to see what's happening. But yeah, for me personally, the potential of being able to have an interchain DEX where you might be able to have, well, you should, right? In order for the DEX to work, you're going to need to have deep liquidity pools. So having liquidity pools for things from other blockchains just there, like even things like ADA, XRP, Litecoin, would be really interesting. And I'd like to see what happens from there. Greg's question, no, that's not quite how this works. Well, it might actually. Yeah, you might. Yeah, actually, I take that back. Yes, if you're on Merkle, you won't have to. You'll still have to switch to OP, but you'll be able to use your gas account money to claim, as opposed to having ETH on Optimism to pay for that. Yes, that's correct. That does solve that issue as well. Great question for that. Moving along. Obviously, there's a big debate yesterday, but on Tuesday, was it Tuesday? Monday. We also had a big Apple event. And the one thing that Apple talked about yesterday, or at least on Monday, is they dropped their Apple Intelligence offering. I've been watching this for a while. I don't have an iPhone 15. I have a 13. So I was unable to look at some of the things in beta. The So the new iPhone 16 that's coming out, even the base model, will have the power and the memory to access Apple Intelligence, which puts their version of privatized Apple Intelligence both through their data servers as well as, I believe, ChatGPT is the partner, OpenAI, rather, the partnership they have there to keep that all on device. I think it's a little bit of an interesting reaction to see the market react to this, honestly. I don't think it hurts decentralized AI providers for something like this. I was seeing a little bit of chatter on this today. We don't really normally talk about, electronics like this, but it does have a little bit of fingers coming out this way because there are decentralized AI initiatives out there that are hopefully looking to make it so you don't have to worry about any centralized entity owning the AI that you have or that you're using. Kind of really hard to really kind of deeply dive into that. I don't know how much I'll be using Apple Intelligence. I do use the Claude app. I use Claude a lot. I love Claude. I'm really looking into using that to start coding and developing apps, even though I could just do it myself. Why not have an AI do it for you and just validate the results later on for basic things you want to write. But one thing that has come out, and this is from A16Z, they have a new fall cohort coming out with a bunch of different startups that they've decided to incubate. One of them is one called Pin AI. The reason why this, I guess, is interesting is that they've retweeted this. I've read this a couple of times. I'm like, are you sure about that? But the company has retweeted this. I guess they're looking to figure out a way to get decentralized AI, their AI product, as an app on the iPhone. I guess it's no different than Venice, which is decentralized AI. Great product, by the way. Doing the same thing. So I don't know. I don't know if this is huge news, to be quite honest, but the fact that they got 10 million to try and push I guess AI and crypto in meaningful ways. I don't know what that means. Again, this is brand new, but I think more for the awareness that there is movement trying to really just movement between multiple companies and language learning to get in front of your eyeballs, right? And the more of the masses they can reach with this, the more the technology is going to push forward. Are they going to help you make trades or anything like that? Are they going to help you swap tokens? Most likely not. Not in this context, but the fact that they're all fighting, and if you are invested in some of these companies, from a crypto perspective, there could be some ripples here. So that's really the only reason why I think I decided to push this article today. It's really early. In fact, if you purchase an iPhone 16, pre-orders are live now with, I think they drop next Friday, the 20th. You won't get Apple Intelligence on that phone till later in the year. They're still doing a ton of beta on on what's going on there. So you won't be able to even touch any of the Apple Intelligence stuff for at least a couple more months. But from what I've seen, I attended a couple of the sessions for it with their Worldwide Developer Conference earlier this year, a couple of months ago, and yeah, I think it's really compelling, especially how they're going to be working to keeping it private and on device. So we'll see. I'm personally more invested in decentralized versions of this, from things like BitTensor, from things like I guess Pin AI at this point, and some others that are allowing you to have AI on your device. We'll keep you notified if there's anything cool that comes out of that. But there's a lot of movement here. A lot of opportunity if you happen to know anybody who can get you in on some of these seed rounds for some of these companies as well. Something to consider looking into. We'll move on to something very, a little bit of a big news. So before we move on there, just for anybody who's wondering what we're going to talk about today besides news, I'm actually going to take some time to We had a question from Teresa in the group about how do you mint an NFT. We're going to talk about NFTs today and how to look at NFT marketplaces and that type of thing. So if that's something that's up your alley, again, feel free to stick around. That's what we'll be talking about in just a little bit. But before that, please, if you could hit the like button, subscribe, put on the notification bell, would really appreciate that as we continue our growth here at TVL and Beacon DeFi. So we talked about BitGo and WBTC. We talked about this about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, because they have 60 days that they're transferring ownership from BitGo with BitGlobal to this now three-pronged multi-signature, multi-operational, multi-jurisdictional ownership of the token. And really it just made waves because Justin Sun and Tron were strategic partners, which caused this whole hullabaloo. MakerDAO no longer allows WBTC as collateral moving forward with DAI, but now they have Sky and USDS, and it's really weird, to be quite honest, how it's all kind of moving around. But this is interesting because it just kind of dropped in this morning again. Layer 0 and WBTC and BitGo now have a full partnership, making WBTC an OFT, which they call an omni-chain fungible token. This is important and bullish for multiple reasons. Reason number one, Layer 0 serves more than 80 chains. So now this makes bridging WBTC, which honestly has always been a real pain in the ass, very trivial. This allows you to use Stargate. This allows you to use SushiSwap, to use Layer 0 bridging, like gas.zip and stuff like that. Anything that has Layer 0 bridging in its fabric, you can now easily send WBTC back and forth. So there are a lot of people who 2 weeks ago were starting to freak out and possibly cash out their WBTC for something else, like Threshold BTC, TBTC, or Coinbase talked about they were coming out with CBBTC. Honestly, since WBTC still has such a huge market share of the wrapped Bitcoin or derivative asset Bitcoin marketplace, even with things like Babylon coming out, this is super bullish in my opinion, because this solves an issue that people have with existing coins. First of all, the security on WBTC has always been good, but now everything's fully backed, and now you can transfer it anywhere you want fairly easily. There's going to be some things that need to, of course, come into play to make this, fully in the wallet. But with this launch, Avalanche and BNB Chain get WBTC back on chain. They were not really on there with Avalanche having their own version of BTC called BTC.B, and BNB has always had their own version called BTCB on their chain for quite some time from Binance. So to me, this is supremely bullish. To have Brian Pellegrino and Simon Baxis talking with Mike Belch, the co-founder of BitGo, about this, and this is roughly about a 45-minute conversation. I definitely recommend this will be in the show notes. If you want to check this out, definitely check it out. They're also, and I don't know if this is new, but they have a decentralized validator network for BitGo as well for node operations to help with that. So I think that would be cool. I don't know a ton about BitGo behind the scenes to be transparent, but the idea that it's now omni-chain, much like all of the OFT tokens that WBTC joins, it's just going to improve. It's going to improve bridging speed, investor sentiment, confidence in the asset moving forward. And this is a big deal in my personal opinion. So for those of you who are really worried, again, we're just about 30 days away from that shift in market, shift in ownership of WBTC. None of the mechanisms changed, just the geographic jurisdictions, because it was all US based before, as well as who holds the ownership keys. Then it's now 3 entities, and certain entities own each one. BitGlobal gets one, BitGo has one, and then the Singapore, I believe, or the Hong Kong version of them holds the other. In any case, I'm really pleased with this move. This was smart. This was very smart of BitGo to go this route, because this puts WBTC back in the limelight. When we're seeing things like Babylon and some of these other Really interesting. Like I looking at my timeline this morning, there's at least 10 different BTC staking options now that are available, whether it's Lorenzo, Lombard, or some of these others that are out there. Seeing WBTC make this move as the market leader, joining with what I consider a cornerstone of DeFi and layer 0, that's good stuff. That's bullish. So excited to see where this goes. It's pretty easy to get Bitcoin on chain as WBTC. Literally, if you're on Coinbase, you just convert any BTC you have to WBTC, and then you can send that down to Arbitrum, to ETH mainnet, to Avalanche and Optimism for pennies. It's really nice what they've done there. Does that change moving forward with the announcement of CBBTC? I'm not sure. I guess that's something to look at. But currently, pretty easy to get WBTC on chain. If you're in the mastermind, we have videos on that. It's actually very straightforward. So yeah, excited for that, and we'll see what happens. We've been covering for the last couple of weeks about Kujira, mainly because I do have exposure here. We've talked about it. It's an asset we've talked about previously. This is now official after the debacle with what happened with the operating funds, and now the liquidations. The price of the token has tumbled below 50 cents. I'm a day one Kujira user. So from an app perspective, I've always been a supporter of what they're doing, mainly even from Terra, where they had Orca, which is a liquidation house. So you could get blue chip assets on the cheap from liquidations. I think it was on Anchor Finance and a couple other markets. They've turned it into an entire ecosystem of really great products that I enjoy using, regardless of what's happened. A lead co-founder of THORChain has now come in, and they're going to be leading what's called the Kujira Alliance. I'm also a longtime Rune holder for anyone who likes THORChain. So yeah, this is an interesting partnership. I'm glad that it's happening. I, of course, would be quite sad if my Kujira bags just melted in half, which pretty much it did. But the idea here is that they're going to be creating a new app layer on top of Kujira, which merges roughly, I don't know, at least five different projects together in the Kujira ecosystem. But overall, I'll have this in the show notes, an ELI 5 version, which is an explain like I'm 5 version of what's going to happen here. Well, the one thing we don't know is exactly when the merge is going to happen. You can, of course, keep your Kuji if you want. With regards to how I feel about this, of course, not financial advice, do your own research on this. For me, I'm about keeping my bags where they're going to be productive. For me, it makes sense to convert to the new Ruji token because the old Kuchi token is probably going to go away. I mean, I can't imagine a ton of people wanting to stay in it at this point. Are you getting much less for your bags in the conversion? Yeah, but that's crypto. But there could be a huge goal here, because I'm a big fan of what THORChain does with being a decentralized quote unquote CEX, because it's one of the few dexes where you have native BTC, native ETH, native everything token. Pardon me. And they thrive off of transactions. They have all kinds of great technological things like streaming swaps and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what happens here. It's better than the present. The present's pretty painful, honestly. So I'm choosing to look forward to better things ahead. And as we find out more, we'll of course update you all, especially if you have Kuji bags, to know about how to get into Ruji, because there actually is going to be a decay period. So if you don't get in after a month, the amount you'll be able to convert is actually going to decay and be less and less over the next 12 months. So do not worry. I will let you know exactly when that starts. So yeah, that's going to be a big thing. And more details about that, it's going to be in the show notes. All right, moving on. So this is a little bit of a, I wouldn't say it's a huge announcement, but it's cool. Essentially ENS, which stands for Ethereum Naming Service, which allows you to get a nice little .eth namespace. So you pay for this domain name. So you don't have to worry about it. If people ask, well, how can I send you crypto? You're like, oh, here's my address. It's 0x, blah, 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 blah. You just give them, oh, it's nick.eth. It'll resolve and you'll be able to send that money. So if you're on Venmo, if you're on PayPal, Venmo owns PayPal. Venmo is owned by PayPal, and PayPal, of course, has their PYUSD and a bunch of other things. You'll be able to give them your .eth name, and it should work. And I wonder if this works too with base names, because they are .base.eth, or even with well, probably not Coinbase, because Coinbases are CB.id. But one day we'll just have like this full global DNS lookup service, right? So it doesn't matter what your address is, because I know for certain blockchains like Near, for example, you don't ever really know what your address is. They just give you a nice little name, .near, to be able to just give someone an address, and then some sort of directory will be able to know what that is, just like on the web now, and be able to have you send money back and forth very easily. It was great, because this is the true spirit of digital assets, right? Helping those who are unbanked, helping those who are underserved by the money hungry fintech industry, or just want to break away from the shackles of traditional finance and not be in a situation where you're dealing with systems that are rigged against you. That type of stuff, right? Stuff that we talk about here at Beacon. This is all part of that, right? Whether it's you're here just getting being able to send money to your parents in a remittance, or someone you know in a remittance, without having to worry about issues like this. Or I'm sure there are better examples that I can think of. Paying for Robux and Roblox or something like that. Yeah, digital assets are starting to come around, and we're going to see more of these protocols start to unify, make it easier to do so. Because really, that's the key, right? Yeah, it's cool that they have all this stuff, but how do you make it easy for the average person to do it? That's going to be in my opinion, the killer app of crypto. Let me grab another article before we move forward that I read that just kind of made me chuckle. Mainly for the reason that they really feel strongly, they feel very strongly about this being the killer app. If I can figure out where it went. Oh, there's a couple of things that I haven't talked about. And it's that prediction markets are the killer blockchain app we've been waiting for. I don't think this is true at all. Only because if you're an on-chain native, and maybe this is the difference, right? This is the best way to frame sports betting and gamble-fi to the masses. These are prediction markets, right? So here's the prediction market of who's going to win the football game later on Saturday in college football. What's the prediction market for that, and all the prop bets you can do on that? When you look at it that way, I guess it's fine. Because if you think about it, not secretly, it's very public, obviously, more of these betting things have now come into the limelight, right? Like you can use DraftKings or Bet Online or whatever the groups are that are out there to bet on anything. So the fact that Polymarket is coming out as a quote unquote prediction market as the killer app of crypto, I'm like, we've already had that. There are things like this all over for like sports betting and all kinds of things. It's one of the easiest smart contract operations to build, to be quite honest. So I still think stablecoins are the killer crypto app, but yeah, I mean, if they want to frame it this way, just like, NFTs are technically called digital DCAs, digital something assets. something like that. Or, oh, sorry, digital collectible avatars for certain NFTs, right? That are not utility based. So if you're talking about regular profile pictures and stuff, they're calling them DCAs in other categories, just to kind of soften the blow, get the optics right. So when I see something like prediction markets or the killer blockchain app, it just kind of makes me laugh, because I was like, well, we've always had them. You just don't want to call them betting apps, right? They're called prediction markets instead. Because I mean, if you predict correctly, you do get winnings off of that. You're not just dumping into some charity, saying, yes, Donald Trump is going to win the election, stuff like that. You do get something for it. So I thought that was interesting to read this morning. What was the other thing I definitely wanted to talk about? You know what? I'll pull this one up as well. I need to get the actual announcement. I'll put that in the we'll put that specifically in the show notes. But as you know, we're always looking to find ways to off-ramp crypto, right? That's a popular question when people come and ask me questions. What's the best way to off-ramp crypto? A lot of times in the old days, it was using things like BitRefill, buying gift cards, Amazon gift cards, stuff like that. Now we have actual debit cards that are built on top of a ridiculous house of cards. Ether.fi now has a crypto native credit card. Now you can get this if you're on crypto.com, if you're on Coinbase, they all have their own debit cards that you can use that are based off of what's in your account. And you have to top those things up. They're not like, it's not a line of credit. It's like the literal debit card. You actually put a balance in there and you can debit from that balance using this. Regardless of what happens, you still have to pay taxes and all that stuff, by the way. That's all gets reported. So nothing different here with regards to Ether.fi, which is a liquid restaking protocol. They're doing on layer 2 Scroll, which is a zero knowledge proof chain, which I thought was really interesting. What I'm curious about is this available to US? Because I'm not sure. My guess is it is not. But it might be. We'll find out. Because we talked about one for Linea in MetaMask, right? MetaMask had the card, I think it was 3 weeks ago. We talked about MetaMask card. It's in pilot, but it's based off of people in the EU, because it's a lot of these tie back to Swiss bank accounts. Swiss bank accounts, yes, it's very popular to have to pay with crypto for your bills in the country of Switzerland. So banks are fine with assets that are digital based and having cards like this. So would be shocked if this is available to US people, but we'll see. So yeah, if you're looking for another thing, Ether.fi will have a crypto card, crypto native debit card. Of course, it'll be on Scroll, so you'll need to bridge funds over to Scroll, just like for the MetaMask card, you have to bridge funds over to Linea in order to do this. But the fact that it's on a ZK-rollup is good, because that means that there is very little finality in terms of settlement. Because if you do it on something like it's a rollup for like an optimistic rollup, like on Arbitrum, like I think Cypher has it on Arbitrum, there's a 7-day challenge period for stuff like that after it's settled. So someone can come back and dispute within 7 days, provide proof, and then it's poofed. But something like this, zero knowledge rollups, they use ZK proofs and they say, this is good. Here's a mathematical equation that goes along with it. You can verify that equation's good, and we're telling you this is good. So that you have instant, for the most part, instant finality on that. So that part's cool. All right, with that said, we'll move on to the alpha portion, or what we've learned. And it's going to be merged into call for help in a way. And I'm just going to grab another window here specifically for the NFT, and I'll talk about why we're talking about that as I come back over here. And the reason for that is that let me get the screen right. There you go. The reason for that is that it was Arbitrum Day. We talked about that last week on the 3rd. It was 3 years since the creation of Arbitrum, the other launch of Arbitrum. And they're doing this really neat video or visual NFT as a commemoration to do that as the first Stylus powered NFT contract. So, question from Teresa was, how do you mint an NFT? Because these are free, just so you know. They've more than 544,000 have been minted in 3 days. That's amazing. So you have physical redemption of this starting on October 7th. So what that means is that you can mint. So an NFT is just a token. It just means it's a non-fungible token, meaning it is unique. Each token that you have is a specific, unique token. There will be none other like it. There are certain versions of an NFT besides this. You have your regular NFT. You also have what's called a soul-bound NFT, meaning you can't once you receive it, you can't sell it. You can't transfer it. There's also some hybrid stuff like the DN or ERC404 tokens, where when you provide a certain amount of liquidity, an NFT is minted for you that you hold. And if you actually get rid of the NFT, you actually lose your position. So, or rather, something like that. In any case, NFTs are a huge driver of traffic in the DeFi space, right? If you're an NFT fan, put a 1 in the chat for me. Would love to see where all my DeFi fans are. Many of you know that I have a little bit of a collection bug in me, specifically on the Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Avalanche side, and also Solana these days. Got to get Smitty back on panel, one of my favorite NFT founders. So what this is just an NFT that you can own for free. And with regards to how to mint it, all you do is go to the website, and this is from their official tweet. It's at mintstylus.xyz. Put that link in here for you. And then all you have to do is you just have to connect a wallet. Now I've already connected my Rabby wallet here. I moved it to a wallet that I haven't minted anything else on just yet. So I will say from a security standpoint, it's a good practice of OPSEC, what we call operational security OPSEC, or wallet separation, specifically to have different levels of risk assets in different wallets. I think it's a good idea to have NFTs in their own wallet, even sub wallets, like stuff you really want to keep and stuff you're just holding on to and will flip at any time, mainly because NFTs are liquid, right? They're like real estate. The value of your home, the value of your NFT is literally what people are willing to pay for it. And you won't realize those profits or that liquidity until someone actually purchases it, right? Like, yeah, my home's worth $300,000, but I'm never going to see $300,000 unless someone actually pays me that much for it. That's what that means. Now, this is a free mint, but you will have to pay for gas. As you can see, it's 0 ETH, but you will have to pay for gas. So you'll need to have a little bit of money in your wallet. Now, I don't have anything. Oh, this works on all of my wallets. I could have just done that. This is the gas account thing I was talking about. Huh. I thought it was because this is one of my other wallets off of my hot wallet. So if it's based on seed phrase, now that's a game changer, because I can just switch between wallets and just use this same gas account. We'll verify this, of course. But that would be really cool, right? Now that's a real game changer if that's the case. So in order to mint this, and there are two mechanisms. Either you're going to mint an NFT, meaning you go to a website, they have an event, you mint it, it's into your wallet, and you have it at what we call the mint price. In this case, this is free. We'll look at NFT marketplaces in a second, where you can go and purchase NFTs that have already been minted at a specific price, or you can list it at a specific price. Ideally, you want to mint as many NFTs as possible, because the mint price will always be cheaper than whatever the market, I can't say that, will hopefully be always cheaper than the market price. So let's say that this was 1 ETH to mint one of these as a commemoration. You go check out a marketplace, 3 months later, and the lowest price that anybody's selling them for is like 0.02 ETH, which is a huge decrease in value, right? And again, this is a liquid, but essentially you get your money back, or you make money in the event that you sell and someone's willing to pay a higher price for that because they really want that. And we'll look at OpenSea and places like that so you can see more about what I'm talking about. So we'll go ahead and mint here so you can see how this works. All I do is just click on the, I've connected my wallet. All you do is click on mint. You can mint up to 5. So we're going to mint 5. Oh, that is so nice. Oh my gosh. Oh, you can't see that. Hold on. I have no way to show this window to you. Let me see. Let me make this happen. Let me just, oh, there we go. I just need to share the entire screen. There we go. So as you can see, I have my Rabby wallet up here. Again, I'm minting 5 of these. So I don't know what I mean, it just says unknown. Rabby, I don't believe shows you the photos of what you're getting, but we are getting a version of this each time. We're on the Arbitrum blockchain. Again, I have ETH in my wallet for gas, but I can use this little gas account right here. And I guess that means you couldn't really see what I was talking about previously, right? So let me pull this up. So I'm here in this other wallet that I have here. Here's my gas account. Now I put 20 bucks in this on Monday, you know, to demo it during our call. And we did at least 4 or 5 transactions. So I really only spent 4 cents, which is fantastic. The fact that I can just use this, and again, you just come in and just put in your 20 bucks and it just takes 2 cents, less than 1 cent, just popping stuff out, right? The fact that I can now mint this and just use that between my different wallets is huge, right? Because I can either just pay the 3 cents for gas for getting all 5, or I can just use my gas account one, not worry about how much gas I have, and it's taken care of. That is a game changer in my personal opinion. Now this is 5 cents. It's a little bit more expensive than the 3 cents. But you have to understand there's a little bit of there's some bridging that takes place. Rabby is also going to charge you so they can make money off the transaction because, you know, business. And yeah, it's a cool mechanic. It's convenient. This is the type of convenience, and you could even say security that you pay for, because the account that you put into is a separate smart contract that holds your funds. So yeah, and once we do that, we just sign. We confirm, and again, it's in stable coins, which is great. As you can see, it's just minting now. There we go. So we now have our infinite rainbows minted. I could click on this Arbitrum link to go check it out on the Blockchain Explorer. I'll see 5 things there. That's great. You can redeem for limited merch. Now, we don't know what that merch is. I'm not expecting there to be hoodies or hats. It could literally just be the small printed photo. I don't know. If it's cool, maybe I'll get it. I mean, if you may redeem for more expensive things, like you can maybe get a $30 desktop prism that shows this in there or something like that, or who knows what it's going to be. We'll find out on October 7th. But again, this is a cool experiment for 2 reasons. For most people, they're getting their first exposure to minting and owning an NFT. And then secondly, the secondary effect, the network effect, if you want to call it, of being able to do more things with it, right? Because for most people, they don't see a lot of utility in holding an NFT. Well, this time you can take this NFT and essentially redeem it. You'll what we call burn, or get rid of that one to redeem it for like a coupon, right? For getting a physical version of this NFT. Again, no idea what it's going to be. Could be a shirt, could be a hat, could be, I don't even know what else it could be. It could be a prism. It could be a picture that's been printed out, whatever. People will make the joke that, oh, I can own this too. Let me just right click and take a screenshot. And now I have it as well. That's fine. But these are, when you have an NFT, you get that certificate of authenticity, much like if you happen to own a baseball card or anything kind of collectible. That's all NFTs in this context follow that mechanism. Of course, there's other great things because of the ownership, the uniqueness of the NFTs. People are talking about using it as information for insurance, car titles, driver's licenses. This is already happening for the state of California. They're doing it on the Tezos blockchain. They started last year, and I think they're going full bore on more things in the next couple of years. But I think the other one's coming to Avalanche. That's right. We talked about that, a month ago on this call. So there we go. We've minted 5 of these infinite rainbows. This is just a looping video with different, you could watch it for a while, I suppose. But let's move on to, what you can do with this. So now that I have this on my wallet, can I do something with it? Sure. We could probably go to, let's talk about I want to say it's the largest because it's not anymore, but one of the most well-known, which is OpenSea. OpenSea is a, what we call an NFT marketplace. You can come here and you can list your NFTs for sale, and hopefully somebody buys it. I don't think anybody's going to be buying our Infinite Rainbows NFT because they were free mint, but you never know. Other thing too, NFTs hold more, holding an NFT also means you may get more perks. You can get more airdrops. You can get all kinds of interesting things just by holding an NFT. There's utility for stuff like this. Or if you are a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he has a conference that he holds, and the only way you can get in is if you buy an NFT. That gives you your admission ticket. They're doing this more with artists. Harry Styles, for example, Taylor Swift. They've done things with NFTs for their fandom that are cool because they're permanent. They're permanent. They're non-fungible. So once you have it, it's yours. As you can see, there's a wide variety of things you can do with NFT, or rather versions of NFTs. I do like to support artists with their NFTs. I'm a big fan of doing that. So that's why I'm pretty deep in on Solana, as well as Avalanche and Arbitrum, for supporting artists who put their work out as NFTs. Happy to buy things like that. I remember in particular, the AVAX Women Group had a specific event for raising funds for cancer research, for breast cancer research, and they created NFTs for that. Each NFT was 5 AVAX. I was happy to pay, multiple NFTs for that, because I'm a big proponent of that hits close to home here in my house, specifically with breast cancer. So a lot of great things that you can do with NFTs. Of course, like I said, it's a liquid. So from a perspective of an investment, is it the one for you? Maybe. You kind of have to figure out what's going to work. Now, obviously, if we're looking at some of the big ones here, in terms of floor price, I don't know what courtyard.io is. This might be a mining thing. If you hold this, you can get into, that's something else. But there's even some where you can get into Bitcoin mining or stuff like that or even trading bots, as long as you hold the NFT, and you have to pay a little bit of money for that. So top CryptoPunks, of course, one of the most expensive Miladies, Pudgy Penguins, all the Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, all of these things are all very very expensive. You've heard of people buying Bored Apes for like 115 ETH. I think Justin Bieber's famously bought one for 115 ETH, and the floor price is not where it used to be. Just to give you some terminology, of course, we have a training for this in all of our communities. The floor price is when you list a NFT, it's the cheapest one that you can find. That way, it's what's called the floor. If you want to buy multiple, you're doing what's called sweeping the floor. And what you're doing is removing the lowest price, the lowest listed ones out, raising the floor price and making that whole collection more valuable. So that's where that comes in. You can support both protocols and platforms through this because of what are called royalties. Whenever you do a transaction like this, like I'm not going to buy this because that's just ridiculous. I don't have 12 ETH in this wallet anyway, but so it's $70,000. Oh no, sorry. ETH isn't at $5,000. What am I talking about? I'm in that bull mode. There's like a $30,000. There's like almost a $30,000 NFT. You kind of have to figure out in your world, is that worth it? In any case, there are multiple places you can go. This is just OpenSea. OpenSea is available on multiple blockchains across the Ethereum virtual machine. They have since been taken over by a couple of different marketplaces, one of them being Blur. Blur specifically, because they also have lending on there. So you can actually put up your NFTs as collateral and borrow against them, which I think is a pretty interesting mechanic. Most people, if they don't want to be on Ethereum for NFTs, they go to Solana. Tensor is now the largest. Tensor took it away from Magic Eden, which has been a long-standing NFT marketplace on Solana. You're looking at Magic Eden now goes to Ethereum, Polygon, as well as Bitcoin ordinals. They're pretty big on the Bitcoin ordinals and Rune side as well. So if you're looking for a market specifically for that, then the Magic Eden ecosystem might be for you. Tensor by volume is now the largest leading marketplace, and they have, a variety of things. Like for example, the Super Monkey Ball Gen 2s, 24 sol. I mean that's a pretty high floor. Mad Lads is also super high. And again, it's all about art. It's all about utility. It's about the status of owning them. I do own a couple of rare NFTs. I will say from a safety standpoint, the moment that you own an expensive NFT, you are painting a target on your back. So please be very careful. This is why we always recommend have a crypto-only email. I would recommend if you're out in public, do not wear merch that publicizes an NFT that you own. We've heard about things like when the most recent ETHCC in Brussels, people getting attacked, stabbed, whatever. This is high money, high stakes stuff these days, guys. So just kind of keep that in mind. But still, if you're into art, if you're into utility from different utility that's around here, Legacies, who's been on this show, has his own project on Solana called Pioneer Legends. It's a staking service, so you're earning money by holding one of his NFTs, thanks to some of his mining operations to support that whole ecosystem. Look into things like that. There's many of these projects out there, just so you know, and they've been going on for quite some time. So. And you can find them on multiple blockchains. Zora is a superchain, OP superchain member. They specifically are partnered in with Base and OP. Stargaze, if you're in Cosmos, this is I had a chance to get a Celestine slot. This was 1 TIA on the mint. It was $15. And it is skyrocketed to whatever $3,600 for one of these. It all started off with Bad Kids. Bad Kids was by far the largest. It was art that was drawn by like a 7-year-old or something like that, and they just rose to prominence in terms of how much is that today? 1,000 for floor, but they were higher at some point. In any case, Stargaze is in the Cosmos ecosystem. They are an app chain specific, a layer 1 specifically for NFTs. Just as a disclaimer, I am a long-term staker of stars on the Stargaze blockchain. But yeah, there's NFTs everywhere. A lot of utility for NFTs. It's considered a high-risk asset because it's illiquid. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't get too addicted to this stuff. Very easy to, especially if you're in a position where you can sweep floors and start flipping NFTs. There's a lot of people who love flipping NFTs, and there's marketplaces like on Avalanche and other blockchains that give you points for flipping NFTs. And there's a whole ecosystem for that and tools that I could show you and take 3 hours to talk about this. But a little bit of a crash course. So thanks, Teresa, for the question on how do you mint an NFT. You just go here to the website that they give you to mint it. Be very careful about this. Make sure you always have the correct website. There are fake websites to mint NFTs. I got this directly from Arbitrum DAO. So keep that in mind. Certain websites will use launch pads, like I believe OpenSea has a launch pad where you can mint. Magic Eden also has one, I believe, and same with Tensor. So just be very careful when you mint. It's a great way to get in on the ground floor for a lot of projects, and you have the ability to hold up a fairly valuable investment asset, depending on how well it does. Community, culture, memeing, a lot of factors that go into utility or just popularity of keeping these long term. So Just keep that in mind. That's a little crash course in NFTs. We have guides for this course in our community, so if you have more questions about that. So, and there we go. That's today's show. So again, join us every week. We'll have we have a couple of guests lined up for the next couple of weeks. So get ready every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, to learn more about what we do here. Again, if you want to join our community, if you loved what we heard today, you want to get in some of the value, again, perfectly, absolutely free, at school.com/beacon. Be a part of the hundreds of others as we march our way on 1,000 people. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We'll see you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Join us on School. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, help us out in the algorithm. We'll see you later. We're also on Twitter. Like us there as well. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. 07, beacons up, banks down. See you guys later.